It's very serious business, you know?
Yeah.
It's very serious business. We're just trolling the American people with new departments named after online memes.
I don't know. I think he's getting... There's a possibility he might be getting trolled unless he's in on the joke, because this thing seems so unserious to me. Like, I read the release...
Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are supposed to be heading up Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency. But will this be a real department, and will it have any teeth? Tim Miller and Sam Stein of the Bulwark broke all this down. We're going to take a look at clips of Tim Miller and Sam Stein talking about this. I will share my thoughts on this from time to time as well. Let's check this out together.
Hey, guys. It's me, Sam Stein again. I can't even pronounce my name. Sam Stein again. I'm with Tim. We're plowing through this because God knows Trump isn't give us a rest.
Tell me another member of the Five has been appointed to the cabinet. Has anybody else from the Five
Not Jessica Tarlov or Dana Perino, no.
What about the big fat guy that's on sometimes? It's also on Gutfeld. Tyrus?
Oh, Tyrus. Yeah, no. He hasn't
Tyrus been appointed to anything?
No. We're waiting.
They've already got RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services. Tyrus was probably the runner-up. He seems like a healthy guy.
I got my money on Judge Janine. I know you're making the Jesse Waters jokes, but I think Judge has someone. We're here. First of all, subscribe as always. But we're here to talk about Elon and Vivek. They've been appointed to. I think it's a completely made up position. No, it's definitely a made up position.
Yeah.
The heads of the Department of Government Efficiency. It doesn't exist. This department.
Do you get the joke?
There's two heads of this department.
The joke is they called it the Department of Government Efficiency DOGE.
DOGE.
Because of Dogecoin. It's like a meme.
I get it.
It's very serious business, you know?
Yeah.
It's very serious business. We're just trolling the American people with new departments named after online memes.
I don't know. I think he's getting... There's a possibility he might be getting trolled unless he's in on the joke, because this thing seems so unserious to me. Like, I read the release a couple times. First of all, it's him and Vivek. They're like going to consult with other government agencies to create recommendations about how to cut them and streamline them. And they also have until July 4th, 2026 to do this. Like, what is the point of this? It's a commission.
It's kind of like it's Simpson Bowles. We did this. Alan
we
Simpson
did this.
And Erskine Bowles, which I was for. I was for the Simpson and Bowles commission. So maybe I'm for this. I don't know. Vivek Ramaswamy Musk doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't come off the tongue quite like that. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the fundamental question here is here's what the Simpson Bowles at some level it's like President appoints people to commission, like story as old as time, right? And so as these commissions have gone in the past, they make recommendations. It goes to Congress. Congress dithers. Maybe they pass a version of it. Like that's how the system works. Like back when we had a system that worked, which was a while ago now. So the question with this is like, is that what this is? I don't think that's what Elon and Vivek think that they're signing up for. I think that Elon and Vivek think that they're signing up for Twitter Part 2, where Elon went in and he fired 85% of the workforce. That's what they think that they're doing.
That's what I wonder. I wonder if they recognize that they're just being kind of kicked to the curb or being told to play with ineffectual toys. Here's what the release says.
But are they?
So here's the release. It says, DOGE will become, quote, the Manhattan Project of our time. It will not. Republican politicians have dreamed about the objective of DOGE for a long time. To drive this kind of drastic change, the Department of Government Efficiency will provide advice and guidance from outside of government and will partner with the White House and the Office of Management and Budget to drive large-scale structural reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to government never seen before. So they're just going to advise. They have no power. They can't, do anything. They can't make cuts. That's not how this works.
Okay.
Do they know that?
So there are two potential things at play here.
Now, before Tim Miller gets into this, I think, almost everybody, I think, in our country would say, hey, there's a lot of waste. There's a lot of areas where we could cut things. I would start with defense, personally. We have 900 military bases all around the world. Do we really need 900 military bases? think there could be some cuts done there. There are other areas where cuts could be made. Now, when Elon Musk talks about that it's going to be difficult for the American people, what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I suspect, want to do, for one thing, they want to cut government workers, which we're going to get into here in a minute. But Elon and Vivek also, they want to cut anything that benefits regular people. You know, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all these things that are very important to your life if you're just a regular person. And if you're young, maybe they aren't important to you yet, but when you get older, they're going to be important. So anything that they would cut, it's not going to be, you know, again, things like military bases around the world, or maybe scaling down the, you know, maybe not giving money for weapons to other countries at such rates that we do. No, that's not going to go away. It would be anything that benefits you or I. The thing here is, you know, it looked a little bit scary at first, but now as Tim Miller and Sam Stein are getting into here, it looks like this is just going to be kind of a department in name only. And do Vivek and Elon realize that maybe they're not going to have any real power with this? Who knows? But if they don't have any real power, that will be fantastic, in my opinion.
Sure.
One is what you just laid out, right? Which is that this is a farce, that they're just going to, like, whatever, put together a PowerPoint that Mike Johnson will put in the circular receptacle. And then Donald Trump will take credit for it and say it was great. We made America great again. They did a great job, kind of like the wall, right? Like, that's one option. And that is, like, ridiculous and absurd and kind of in line with the clownishness that we are about to live through. That's like the sort of farce version, you know, whether this is tragedy or farce.
What's the non-farce version?
I mean, the tragedy version of this, look, I followed Vivek around in Iowa during his campaign for a while. I spent a decent amount of time with him. And he had, like, some pretty, what I would say are far out there views on how to dramatically restructure the government and how to, like, I'd have to go back and look at my notes, but you know, but he was figuring out ways around the civil service rules, right? Where like there were certain ways that you could fire a bunch of people that, like, you know, he was arguing were technically legal based on, you know, his reading or some legal nerd that told him this is reading of, you know, various statutes. And I think Musk feels like that he's going to do that. And then what this really is that they're going to come up with a way to try to slash the government in massive ways, indiscriminate ways. I think it was key to what Vivek was saying. Is that, like, as I recall, Vivek's argument was basically, you can't like, the government rules make it very hard to fire civil servants, you know, for cause, like, you've got to go through various things. But if you just, like, mass lay off people, like, there are ways around it. And so that they would do that and then basically challenge the courts, figuring that the Supreme Court would end up being on their side. There'd be some lower courts that would go against them. And then, like, that's what this is. Like, it.
So what Tim Miller is saying here with Vivek Ramaswamy, I saw an interview with him recently. I don't have the clip of it because I don't remember where I saw it. It might have just been on TikTok. But where he was saying that they could just look at Social Security numbers and just fire people that their, like, last four digits was odd numbers or something like that. So it would just be, wouldn't have anything to do with their job performance or anything. It would just be essentially random based on odd number. You know, if you're even number, you'd be safe. If you're odd number, you'd be out. And one thing about this that is interesting to me, now whether they're able to do it or not is a big question. But like Tim Miller is saying here, the scary thing about a second Trump administration is they are just going to, what's the quote about, you know, I forget exactly how it goes, but you just do something and then you ask for permission. Instead of asking for permission ahead of time, you ask for forgiveness later. I know I butchered that, but it's something like that. And that's what they're going to do, I imagine. It'll be something like with the Muslim ban, when Donald Trump said, you know, we're going to ban Muslims from coming into the country until we find out what the hell's going on. And that lasted for a little while, and then the courts ultimately blocked it. But like Tim Miller is saying here, if you have courts that are sympathetic to Donald Trump, particularly the Supreme Court, that's, you know, really on his side, then how much are they going to be able to get away with? It could be a lot, which is the unfortunate thing and the scary thing about all of this.
It's there, the point of the spear in a showdown with the courts, and that could get very ugly. I think that could be farcical or ugly, I guess is my point.
So yes, now there's copious reporting that they want to do this, right? Like Schedule F stuff, where they just basically can file civil servants, purge the government of people who they don't think are loyalists. They talked about moving entire agencies to different states outside of DC, which they know would just thin them out because you can't just uproot your family like that. So undoubtedly, they have the intention to try to get rid of a huge swath of government. There's two things, though, that I think are distinguishable here, which is one, firing employees is different than reducing government, right? Like Congress will appropriate money for agencies to do a certain amount of things. You can, say you can do that with less people in government, and that might be just what they do. Two is, I was all for the idea that they were going to do exactly what you said, right? They're going to go in there and just try to cut. I mean, Elon was talking about like $2 trillion of cuts and pain immediately that the American public will have to endure. This is stuff he said publicly before the election. But then this press release makes me think that that's not this. Like, they're partnering with the White House and OMB. They have to conclude the work no later than July 4th, 2026. Like, that's a year and a half plus from now. If this was let's get in there and just absolutely tear shit up, it feels like those two things wouldn't be a component. And in my read is that this is something where like Susie Wiles and anyone else who wants to actually run a show is like, hey, you guys go do your thing. Like, go figure out how to really do this and report back to us.
Why would Vivek not? Vivek also in this announcement said that he's not going to go for Vance's open Senate seat, which I would have thought he would have been the front runner for. So that's curious.
You think that suggests he thinks this is real?
Yeah.
So we have here with, it's an interesting situation with Donald Trump. We're going to have, once again, an internet troll as president. That's what Donald Trump is. And you've got Elon Musk, who's also an internet troll, who's going to be involved in some way with his administration, whether this department has any teeth or not. And I don't know that Vivek Ramaswamy is as much of an internet troll, but he is a troll to a degree. And Donald Trump's going to have a bunch of other people who are trolls, like Matt Gaetz and his administration, if they get approved. So on the one hand, I kind of hold on to hope that we're going to see much of what we had in 2016, where Trump and his people are just clowns. He fires anybody who's capable and competent, and they're not able to get much done. On the other hand, we had, he's the president overseeing a country, and there are plenty of bad, unforeseen things that can happen over the course of 4 years, like the pandemic. And he botched that horribly, which led to, really horrible consequences for tens of thousands of Americans. So that's the downside. That's the scary part. You just hope that they are so clownish that they're not able to accomplish a lot of the really bad things that they want to do, and that we can all just kind of hold our breath and maybe get through things over the next 4 years in terms of, if anything disastrous happens, that they don't screw it up too badly. I know those are big ifs. In terms of the federal workers, I think this is very much an, be careful what you wish for, F around and find out kind of situation, where you're going to have federal workers who voted for Trump lose their jobs if they're able to do what they want to do. If they're able to cut 30 to 50,000 people like they want to cut. And, I live in a town where one of our top employers is the federal government, and I know a whole lot of MAGA people working there. And they're going to be absolutely shocked if they lose their jobs. They're going to think it's just the liberals and the lefties that are going to lose their jobs. But in terms of this Department of Government Efficiency, do you think it's actually real? Will Elon and Ramaswamy have any real power? Let me know what you think about all that. Let me know about what you think of what Tim Miller and Sam Stein had to say here. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm now over 40,000 subscribers. I want to get up to 50,000, 100,000 and beyond. So if you enjoy what I'm doing, if you want to see more of it, please subscribe so that I can continue to grow. This is Chris on Culture. I will see you in the next video.